Alright musicians, we have to talk about this Facebook situation. If you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell while we get ready to talk about social media, why you can't trust them, and what you should do about it. You've probably seen a few articles or Facebook posts lately about Facebook's new terms of service that are going to go into effect on October 1st. There's one particular part of the TOS that's making big waves among independent musicians. The section in question reads like this. You may not use videos on our products to create a music listening experience. We want you to be able to enjoy videos posted by family and friends. However, if you use videos on our products to create a music listening experience for yourself or for others, your videos will be blocked and your page, profile, or group may be deleted. This includes live. So what does this mean? That appears to be the problem. Nobody really seems to know what exactly this means. It would appear that if you use Facebook's video platform to play any kind of music at all, then you're in violation of Facebook's terms of service that you agreed to simply by having a Facebook page. But that's not all. Not only is this not actually going into effect on October 1st, it's actually been in effect for at least 2 years now as far as I can tell. But you're probably saying, I post music videos all the time and my pages haven't been deleted yet. Well, you're probably right, and that kind of creates another problem. It doesn't appear that Facebook has really been enforcing this for the last couple of years, or that they've been enforcing it very selectively. And that brings us to a huge problem with social networks that are used by 2.7 billion people worldwide. Whenever they come up with rules like this, they can either rely on human users to report them and other human employees to enforce the rules, in which case many people are going to get by with skirting the rules, or they can rely on a computer algorithm in order to weed people out that are breaking the rules. Of course, if they do this, then there's going to be unavoidable collateral damage, and innocent people who are following the rules are going to get their pages deleted. So, what do I think about this, and what do I think we should do about it? Well, there's an unfortunate truth that we all have to accept, and the sooner we can accept this, the better. You cannot rely on or trust social media platforms, period. Have you ever heard the old adage, nothing in life is free? Well, that goes double for the internet. There are so many free products and services out there that I lose track of them. I mean, in addition to Facebook, we have Instagram and Google and YouTube and TikTok, and the number is growing and growing seemingly by the day. Always remember this. If something on the internet is free, then that thing is not the product. You are the product, and the customer is the advertisers. Never forget that. You are the product, and you are being sold to advertisers. And something else we all have to realize is that Facebook has been screwing musicians literally for years. Do you remember several years ago when Facebook convinced you, or more likely forced you, to change your band account to a business account? That was their attempt at turning the product into a customer. How has that worked out for them? Have you given Facebook any money lately? I know I sure have. And if you have a band page on Facebook, do you keep up with your visibility and engagement numbers? If you haven't looked at those in a while, go ahead and pull it up. Pull up your band page and look at your engagement numbers for a recent post and make a mental note of that. Go ahead. Are you back? Are those numbers depressing or what? Mine sure are. Facebook has an algorithm that decides who gets to see what and how many people get to see each post that goes out on their platform. If you don't know what an algorithm is, it's okay. An algorithm is simply a list of instructions. In this case, the algorithm is a computer program that decides who gets to see what and how many people get to see everything that goes through Facebook. Since Facebook began, people had been trying to game the algorithm. They've been trying to find the right times to post, the right words to use, everything, in order to ensure that their posts get seen by as many people as possible. The same way that people do with Instagram, YouTube, Google, or anything that uses a search engine. The thing about most of these services is that they offer a very easy way to ensure that your post gets seen by as many people as possible. All you have to do is give them money. If you do that, it's like them giving you the keys to the store. You get to decide, depending on how much money you give them, you get to decide who gets to see your post. You get to decide what age range those people fit into. You can even choose their geographical location. You can choose who gets to see your post based on their hobbies, the things that they like, the TV shows, the movies, etc., etc. Facebook collects all of this information that their users freely give them, and then they turn around and sell that to advertisers. And one of those advertisers might be you. And that's the price that you pay for this free service. And the more money you give them, the more people will see your posts. About a month ago, I made 2 posts on Facebook that were nearly identical. Both of them used a very similar thumbnail image and used very similar wording, and they both pointed to an external link to the same YouTube video. One of those posts I boosted with $10 worth of advertising, and the other one I did nothing. The one for which I did nothing was seen by 22 people and received 0 engagement. The post with $10 of advertising behind it was seen by 445 people and received 9 engagements. Here's another difficult truth. Social media companies only care about you to the point that they can make money off of you. If at some point Facebook decides that it is in their financial interest to not have any music on their platform versus having some music on their platform, they can instantly kick every single band and musician off of Facebook according to the terms of service that we all agreed to. If you have all of your social media eggs in the Facebook basket, guess what this means for you? And this isn't even a new thing. It's been going on for years and years, and people aren't learning from it. It's been going on since at least the MySpace page. There was big news in the musician community about 10 or 15 years ago. There was a blues band called Bones. They had a MySpace page with a custom MySpace URL, myspace.com/bones, that pointed to their band Facebook page. That is, until Fox came out with a new TV show called Bones. What does Fox have to do with anything, you might ask? Well, some of you might remember that in July of 2005, MySpace was bought out by Rupert Murdoch for $580 million. In retrospect, probably not the best business decision. However, you might also know that Rupert Murdoch is the owner of News Corp, which owns Fox Broadcasting Company, which produces the TV show Bones. Suddenly, there is a huge conflict of interest there. Without warning, MySpace yanked that band's MySpace page URL, myspace.com/bones, and replaced it with the only slightly less catchy, myspace.com/7483383. Not only that, but even though the band came first, since that platform was owned by Rupert Murdoch and News Corp, which owned Fox Broadcasting Company, there was nothing the band could do about it because they agreed to the terms of service. They did not own that URL. It's worth mentioning that the URL was ultimately returned back to the band, but only after a press release that went semi-viral, and MySpace only returned the URL in order to avoid any more bad press. If that band didn't have as much of a following or as much of a voice, how do you think that would have turned out? So, now that I've sufficiently depressed everyone, is there anything that we can do about this? As luck would have it, there's actually plenty that we can do about it. First of all, your social media strategy, and you should have one as a band or musician, that strategy should have multiple different angles that involve multiple different social media platforms. And honestly, I think that Facebook should probably be the least of those. Facebook is making it abundantly clear that they don't want bands on their platform. They want friends and family to be able to connect to each other, and they want more traditional businesses in order to advertise to them. That is their business model, and to be perfectly honest, I'm content to let them have it. I mean, the only other alternative is to fight a losing battle, a battle that we are not going to win. Instagram, on the other hand, I think, at least currently, is a necessary tool that all bands and musicians should be using. There is a possible problem that I'll mention for full disclosure, that Facebook owns Instagram. However, at least up until the recording of this video, they've been content to let Instagram operate as its own separate entity with its own rules, regulations, and terms of service. However, that could change at any moment. Another emerging platform that more and more people, even more and more musicians and bands are starting to use is, I kid you not, Pinterest. It may seem kind of strange, and a full discussion on this is far beyond the scope of this video, but you're just going to have to trust me on this one. Do some research and find out about Pinterest, and you might seriously want to look into using that to promote your band. Twitter is another viable option. It doesn't have quite the same reach that Instagram and Facebook do, and news on Instagram travels very, very quickly, which means that your tweets will die very, very quickly. Whereas a post on Facebook might last about 3 to 5 days, and a post on Instagram might last a couple of days, you are very fortunate if one of your tweets lasts longer than a couple of hours. So if you use this platform, be prepared to tweet multiple times a day, and oftentimes tweeting the same thing multiple times per day, especially if you're promoting a gig. If you're interested in how to form an effective social media strategy, be sure to leave me a comment below, and I'll look into doing a deep dive on that in a future video. And that brings me to the most important thing that you can do. Get a website and a mailing list. The inherent problem with social media that you're probably starting to see right now is that you do not own that platform. I mean, you don't even really own the information that you put out there if the social media gods can strike your page down whenever they see fit. And you certainly don't own your followers. Remember, and I cannot possibly stress this enough, they are the platform's customers, not yours, and they will only see your content if you pay the platform to show it to them. So get a website. Websites are cheap nowadays, and they are very, very easy to set up. You can have a website set up in less than an hour for about $10 or less by using a web framework like Squarespace. I mean, I've set up like 4 or 5 websites through Squarespace, and they aren't even paying me to say this. But if they did, I'd totally take their money. Is anybody listening? Squarespace? Squarespace, please give me money, please. So once you have your website, immediately start collecting email addresses. Most website frameworks that you use will have a very easy way for you to set up a mailing list. However, in these times, people are hyper aware of spam as well as email scams, so they tend to be a little bit more stingy with their email addresses. So you have to be prepared to make some sort of a trade. So maybe offer to send visitors to your website a free copy of a song, like a free MP3 or something. And if they want the free MP3, all they have to do is put their email address in this box. I mean, they have to, right? Otherwise, how are you going to send them their free song? Maybe offer to send them some free art or some publicity photos. If you go this route, be sure that you make them available in resolutions that are common on cell phones and computer monitors. This way they can use them as wallpapers or backgrounds. But the bottom line is, for marketing purposes, email addresses are worth their weight in gold. That analogy sounded a whole lot better in my head. How much does an email weigh? Alright, if you like this video, you might also like my video on how musicians can make money during a global pandemic. You might just want to ignore the part about Facebook Live. And if you want to support me without spending any money at all, just hit the like button and the subscribe button, and maybe consider leaving me a comment below, and share this video with somebody that you think will get some use out of it. And if you got some value out of this and you'd like to give some value back in the form of a monetary donation, you can do that by making a monthly pledge through my Patreon page at patreon.com/blevinspercussion, or you can make a one-time donation through Venmo or PayPal by using the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.